Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday update. Let's start off with a photo of the day, and this was taken by Kurt Bidinger, and I think this is from out at Salt Creek. It's funny, you got a picture of a surfer there with, must be what, sunset? I don't think it's sunrise. And when I was growing up, surfing was not a thing on the peninsula, but now it's a real thing. In fact, we have a surf ministry with our church. So, really cool picture, Kurt. Thanks for letting us show that. Hey, this Sunday, as far as things that are coming up, we will be continuing with our study of the Sermon on the Mount, a series that I've called Live Like Mountain Folk. And our in-person services will be at 9 and 10:45 this Sunday. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute because there's a change coming, but not this week. This week, still in person at 9 and 10:45. This will also be a Communion Sunday. So if you are going to be joining us online for church, be sure that you have your elements prepared. And if you are coming to our in-person service at 10:45, that is when we normally have our children's ministries. On Communion Sundays, the last Sunday of each month, we have the kids stay in with the adults for the service. So for parents, you'll want to take note of that this Sunday. And we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 5, verses 43 through 48. And that's where Jesus talks about loving our enemies. And so we'll talk in more detail about that this Sunday. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, the Mother's Day project. This from a couple weeks back. It took a little time for us to get the total, but as you recall, on Mother's Day, instead of trying to give something out to all of our mothers, we encouraged people to give in tribute to their mothers, specifically to support Obria Medical Clinics and Pregnancy Resource Centers, which is a local ministry right here that ministers to moms and expectant moms. And you all were very generous. You donated over $3,720 to help with the ministry of Obria. So I know that they are very thankful, and I'm very thankful that I just get to serve with such a generous body. So thank you so much for what you did to honor our moms by blessing some new moms. Okay, speaking of Sunday schedules coming up, I said that this Sunday in-person service is at 9 and 10:45, but next Sunday, June 6th, that's going to change. For the summer, we're going to try going to one service. And we think that our seating is going to allow us to do it. It'll be great as more folks are showing up to have a chance to all be together and see each other. And so that service will be at 10 a.m. on Sundays. So again, this Sunday, we still have two services at 9 and 10:45, but then next Sunday, June 6th, it will be one service at 10 a.m. So be sure you get that marked in your calendar, plan on it. If you've got friends that come to DCC, remind them next Sunday we're going to 10 a.m. for a single service. We're going to try that out this summer. So looking forward to it. And then coming up on June 13th, the following Sunday, we're going to do an all-church evening of prayer and worship. That's going to start at 6:30 p.m. here in the main auditorium. And just seems like the right time for us to come together, not just in our small home fellowships like we normally do, but to come together as a church body and spend some time praying together. I don't have any special agenda for that evening. Burnett and Sarah are going to help us with some music, but really it's just going to be a time for us to spend praying, worshiping together, seeking the Lord together. And so I hope you'll plan to come. That'll be at 6:30 Sunday evening, June 13th. And then the day before that, actually, I guess I should have put these in a different order, but anyway, Saturday, June 12th is going to be this Family Fun Day. And we're actually going to be teaming up with another church. I think Sequim Valley Foursquare is going to team up with us. And we're going to be taking over the YMCA here in Sequim. And all the facilities will be available to us. There will also be a food truck there. And there is no charge for this. Now, this is limited to families and those with children that are 5th grade and younger. So unfortunately, it's not a come one, come all. It is a family-focused event, and specifically families with younger children. So if you are in that category, or if you know someone who is, this is not just for DCC families. If you've got friends, neighbors that fall into this category, by all means invite them to come. The YMCA facilities are free, the food truck is free, and we just want to make this a fun afternoon of outreach to our church body and to our community. So that's coming up on June 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. Then we've been talking for a couple weeks about this Bless a Grad project for our high school seniors. We have 9 graduating high school seniors. They are finishing up what has been undoubtedly a very strange year to graduate from high school, but they've made it, and we would like to just bless them as a church by a little financial gift. So if you would like to give toward that project, today is actually the deadline, all right? After today, it is too late. But if you want to send a check, you could still send a check today. Be sure you mark senior gift in the memo line, or you can go online right now to our website, dcchurch.org, click on the donate button, and you'll see there's a drop-down menu where you can designate your gift and select the senior gift to designate, and you could give to that. And if you're going to do it, you should do that right now, because we're going to try and wrap this up, and then we will divide the total that comes in among those seniors and just bless them as they graduate. Let's see, how about a thought for the day? This is going to come from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 20, and it's a very short little phrase. Paul is talking to these believers that lived in the city of Thessalonica, and he says, "You are our glory and our joy." I just found an interesting phrase. Paul talked to these people and he said, "You are our glory and our joy." And it got me to thinking, what is your glory? Have you ever thought about that? What would you say is your glory? Maybe it's your business. That has been a great accomplishment that you have built and worked hard at. Or maybe it's a work of art. We have a lot of artists in our congregation, and some of you do some beautiful work. And maybe if you said your glory is your art, what you've produced in that way. Maybe it's some kind of a breakthrough. You're an inventor, you've been involved in science, and you've produced something through that research that you'd say, that's my glory, that's my joy there. For some of us, it's our family, or maybe it's our net worth, or it's a favorite hobby or an athletic achievement. Maybe you still look back to the glory days of high school and college and what you did in athletics, and that is your glory, your joy, if you were to talk about it. For Paul, his glory, his joy was a group of people. They were people that he had poured his life into, that he had taught, he had helped to disciple, and he saw them growing in their relationship with Christ. And when he looked at all the things in his life, in fact, we know elsewhere, Paul said, if anyone has, a reason to glory in the flesh, he goes, I have plenty of reasons. He was of the most elite religious class. He had a Roman citizenship. He had the best of education. And he said, really, I count all of that stuff as rubbish compared to knowing Christ. But then he also says to these believers, you are my glory. I've poured my life into people and to seeing them draw closer to Christ. And, one way to measure where you find your glory and joy, I think, is where do you put your time? Who or what do you give yourself to? And maybe an important question to ponder sometimes is, who or what do you think Jesus would want you to find your glory in? It's possible for us to find our glory in things that don't really have any eternal value. Jesus talked about, where do we lay up our treasure? Do we lay up our treasure on earth, where he says rust and thieves can get to it and moths can eat it and it all goes away? Or are we putting our treasure into things that are eternal? And really the things that are eternal that we get to lay our hands on are the lives of other people, in serving them and loving them. So maybe that's something to think about today. Where do you find your glory? And is there anything that God would want you to maybe reorient in terms of priorities as to where you find glory. Where do you find joy? I think that that's not a bad thing. Paul didn't think it was a bad thing that he found glory in these people. God has things for us to do, and he wants us to find joy in them, and really those things become the gifts that we give back to him. They become that glory, if you will. Well, why don't we have a word of prayer? Lord Jesus, I believe that you have already set out for each one of us great things you want us to do, people's lives you want us to touch, that there would be those people that we would look at and say, they are my glory. That is my joy. And I just pray you would give us eyes and hearts that see the needs around us, that are willing to engage and to serve and to love others. And Father, help us, I pray today, to lay up treasures, not in things that are going to rust, but to lay up things that are eternal, things that are pleasing to you. And would you please just use us for your glory? And I ask this in your name. Amen. Well, that'll wrap us up for the update this week. I trust you have a great weekend and that we will see you on Sunday again. 2 in-person services Sunday morning, and then next Sunday we go to 1 service at 10 a.m. on Sundays. So, hope to see you this weekend. Until then, be blessed.